A recurring thing that I've been hearing out throughout the day is change. Changes in the industry, priorities, expectations. There's change everywhere. And I want to share with you today the story quickly about how my company, Red Sea Markets, is delivering one of the region's upcoming projects, taking that into mind. Now, the first thing is where? We're in the metropolitan city of Riyadh. Everybody wants to come to Riyadh or Jeddah, but we went to Abha, Asir, in the southern region of Saudi Arabia. Now, when you think of Asir, or when you think of Saudi Arabia, what comes to your mind is a desert scape. It's a harsh, arid environment. You don't picture something like that. Now, it's home to the highest peak in the country, but at the same time, it has a beautiful coastline. And I know it's almost time for dinner, so I apologize for this image, but hospitality is key for the region and for these people. And it's also home to a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Rijal Al-Ma village. Now, just keep this image in mind. I want you to remember this plaza that was the center of life. That's where the market happened. That's where people gathered. And just look at these skyscrapers that people built at that time, hundreds of years ago. Of course, at the heart of Asir are the people. Now, again, when you think of Saudis, you think people dressed like me. You don't see all these colors. And art and color is prevalent throughout the architecture of the region. So that's all wonderful, but why Asir again? And why now? Well, if you think Asir is a hidden gem, the government thinks so as well. And that's why they're investing 50 billion riyals over the next years into the region. You may have heard the number 100 million people in Saudi by 2030. Now that number has gone up. But at that time, so 1 out of every 10 people who come to Saudi were intended to visit Asir. And that meant more services, infrastructure, hotels, etc. Now, 40 out of the 50 billion would come from the private sector, the government, the agencies, from the PIF, and the 10 billion was targeted from the private sector. So these are just some of the projects that were announced by the government last year: a new airport, entertainment, a whole new downtown up on the top right, a mixed-use development for the Suda highest peak in Saudi. And this is where the point fits in. So the point is not a big box retail, as you would imagine. It's catering to what we go back to the environment, to the region, to the vision of that place. And again, taking into consideration the changing trend of the retail market, so it's a mix of uses. It's not just a mall. It's where you would go to entertain, you'd live, you'd work, and there's room for expansion again in the future for much more uses. But one thing I want to focus on is the amount of open space that this project is giving back. So on a 75,000 square meter land, we're giving back 50,000 square meters, or 2/3 of the land, as open and green space. So this is really key. It sort of gives you the trend of where things are going. We're not just building and maximizing profits in the GLA in our projects. It's actually a celebration of the landscape of Asir, the beautiful landscaping that can happen there because of the environment, because of the weather. And it's creating and celebrating these plazas that were at the heart of the community. So bring these people back to those communities and creating these Instagrammable places that people would celebrate. And again, art is prevalent throughout the project. So you have the sculptures and you have the art and you have the Al-Khatt Al-Asiri that's on the floor as well as on the walls, because this was at the heart of the community. And I'm happy to say that it's getting underway, and we look forward to welcome you in 2027. The project has been receiving many awards for the design, and hopefully once it's completed, so awards for that as well. But what does it mean for you as retailers or retail developers or people who are in this industry? The first thing is, yes, everybody wants to focus on Riyadh, Jeddah, Khobar, but look at the secondary and tertiary cities of Saudi Arabia. They are really untapped. There's so much opportunity there. The other thing is, with the government opening up the borders of Saudi Arabia and opening up new industries, there's so much opportunities there as well in the entertainment industry in particular. And lastly, think about the experiences, the quality of life, which is essential, and it's still underdeveloped in Saudi Arabia. If you'd like to learn more about the point, if you're interested in leasing, which we're going to open up very soon, or if you'd like to follow our journey, I invite you to scan this QR code. And I'm right on time. Have a great evening and enjoy your dinner.